I felt then that here I was coming into a picture of man on board of our planet after millions of years, having this beautiful vocabulary, so you and I can communicate these experiences, that out of those experiences we can discover principles, and we're here to employ those principles quite clearly in a universe where we have importings and exporting. All the stars are exporting energy, giving it off in enormous ways. However, we also discover as of this century that apparently no energy is either created or lost, so therefore the universe is eternally regenerative. It's the only and the minimum perpetual motion invention. And to have such an extraordinary invention with all the permitted 92 chemical element behaviors and all the different frequencies associating, all the intertransformings that can go on, and always going on, never ceaselessly, and yet it's to have such an integrity that nothing gets lost. It would quite clearly then the exporting means that there must be importing places. And but these stars are all visible to you and I because the energy they give off exporting. We would not be able to identify an importing center off in space because it wouldn't give off anything to be identified by, unless we happen to bounce a signal off it, but it takes so many minutes for it to get there and coming back, we're not really able to do much about it. But our own planet, we discover, is a place where the energies of the universe are being collected, where the sun radiation being pounded by the vegetations and the algae, and converted by photosynthesis, beautiful orderly molecular structure, making hydrocarbons out of disorderly receipts. Therefore, this is quite clearly the place where the biologicals are taking the energies, sorting them out, turning them into orderly structure, and burying them ever more deeply, we call the fossil fuels. And we have, amongst all the biologicals, only the vegetation can do the impounding of the sun radiation. The mammals, such you and I, have to then eat the vegetables or the algae or one of the fish that have grown from one of the other animals. And so I find then that we have the human beings, amongst all the biologicals, has the most extraordinary sorting capability, which is that of the mind. Anyway, the point was that I found myself an outsider, and because I was an outsider, then I tended to look at the total information rather than the strong. So I realized that we might be crossing this threshold where instead of just it had to be you or me in a battle of power and might, see who's going to live and who's going to die, it might be that the principle would make it possible to make everybody successful.
The latter being the former.
But yet we didn't know about those principles earlier.
The former being on the idea of scarcity, that there was a condition of scarcity, and that we would be coming to a moment of a realization of a surplus capability that had been introduced through our metaphysical, intellectual
if we really use the resources in an intelligent way, always in principle and not just for me. If then instead of hoarding for me, for my survival, we really looked into the synergy, which is this principle operating between systems I spoke about, the mind and mind alone can discover, where we discover these are behaviors of whole systems unpredicted by the behaviors of the past, like the gravity of the moon and Earth. So I said, I can see that only if we really begin to operate together and employ those principles, could we really possibly make man a success. And I began to look into that matter and saw that we didn't know how to fly and do a lot of these things very well, but we were assuming that there's not enough ground, so we were doing only a tackling science for war or how are you going to kill to see which one is going to survive.
It's true. That's been the history of the human condition, has been a condition of scarcity. And it's you who has postulated I remember take particular reference to the article that was in the Life magazine in 1952, postulating a transference from the condition of scarcity, which had been characteristic of the human condition, to 1952 having arrived at, 43% coefficient between haviness and the world's population, and you're projecting a 20-odd year period to just about the time that we find ourselves in now, mid-1974, to when the planet would cross the 50% mark, and there would be a new kind of condition begin to be relevant to the assigning of our planetary design priorities. And it would seem to me that you had been gauging that with such an incredibly accurate kind of ability that was, in a sense, quite unique. I don't think there are too many people now who have a fundamental sense that we may be on the dawn of a new capability to realize surplus as the basic underlying assumption for assigning design.
Out to you where
Muy bien.